I hope you enjoyed your short break. And now it's time to continue with our next talk. It's Milana Cap, WordPress through the terminal. So let's hear it for Milana.
Thank you. Good morning. It's already second day. So, fun fact. Before I became developer, I was opera prompter for 10 years. I'm a classical musician. And I have performed probably in every theater and opera house in Serbia, except this one. So I guess learning PHP is all it takes, right? Okay, WP CLI. It's a command line interface for WordPress. And why would you use it? Well, I'm glad you asked. There are 4 levels, in my opinion, of using WP CLI. So the first level is everything you can do in WordPress dashboard, like clean install, no plugins, nothing, you can do with WP CLI. So you can look at it as Guilfoyle level. The second level would be for some things to do in dashboard, like import, export database, list cron jobs. You need additional plugin in dashboard. But with WP CLI, you don't need that. You can just run it on clean install, and that would be Pied Piper level. The next level is, with WP CLI, you can do stuff that no plugins are created for yet. For example, you can export parts of database, parts of content that you need. So I have a client with huge database. Well, their website clients don't come with databases. So there are like tens of thousands of posts and custom post types and millions of users, not even to go to theme options. And I was working on a little part on article templates, so I needed just like published articles in the last 6 months. And with WP CLI, you can do that. You can specify what you want, beginning date, end date, author, post ID. You can specify post type or post type not in when you need all but. And there are a lot of things. It was really, really helpful. Just one command and I had it all. Another very useful thing is scaffold. So with this command, you can scaffold plugins and themes and blocks and some other things. And we will see that today in action. That is one of my favorite things that I would like to do every day. I would build a plugin every day just to run that command. Now this level, you can think of as Neo level. And the 4th level that we will not be able to see today, because there's not enough time, is with WP CLI. You can create custom WP CLI command. And some very smart hosting companies and plugin authors have already been doing this for years. And it's so refreshing when you get new project, you go to hosting and you see, oh, there is WP CLI. And there is their own custom command, and everything is just a breeze. You just do everything in seconds. So this level would be Mr. Robot level. And now you want to know how to use it, right? Well, I don't have computer or server without it, so I cannot show you how to install it, but it's really just 3.5 commands. And there is a really nice documentation, which is very important. So you just go and download the archive, and it's working. So basically, you need just one command. And you can test it with PHP WP CLI, but that's the half of command. Then you don't want to type PHP WP CLI every time you want to run something. So what you do, you just make it executable and then move it to a place from where you can execute it, which is somewhere in your path. Now, I'm on Linux since forever. It works for me. It's probably the same with every other system. And now you can just do this, WP info. And there you have the info on your server and WP CLI. Yeah, now you will notice that I'm using PHP 7.4, do not judge. There is a good reason for that. So now we are ready to start using it. So every command is pretty simple. It tries to do just one job, and it's doing it great. And it's trying to be consistent wherever possible. So you have WP, then you have none, which represents the entity you want to work with. Then you have verb, which represents what you want to do with this entity. And most of them have list, create, add, remove, delete. And after that, you have flags. With every command, every subcommand, you have help flag available. So you can see what parameters are available, if any subcommands. You can even see examples, like the whole documentation is in your terminal. And there is a number of global parameters that you can use, and we will see today two of them, the debug and my personal favorite, prompt one. So I will try today to give you a few examples. It's live, so we don't know if it will happen. But I will try to give you a few examples how you can speed up your administration, how you can make your WordPress website more secure. I know, yeah. And how you can do stuff as a developer a bit faster. So let's say you get an email from old client, they're saying they cannot access login URL. They try WP admin and login, and you just keep sending them to 404 page. And this is because you were smart and you changed the login URL in order to increase website security, but you advised your client to change it again so that even you don't know it, and they did. So for the sake of the example, let's pretend they did. And now no one knows what is login URL. So you have two options. You can search through database if you have access, which is boring, or you can run one WP CLI command, because we live in perfect world where every server has WP CLI available and you have SSH access to it, right? So you naturally choose the second one. And we are going to do that. So we can do SSH and then port number and username. I hope it's right. Yeah, we can do this, and then on that server, I am connected through SSH keys, and I can use WP CLI. But this way, I actually have to remember that port number. I have to memorize the username and domain. I don't want that. The soon as I remember something like that, you know, something very important just disappears from my brain. So I don't want to remember that. And with WP CLI, you don't even have to. You know, I can create alias for every website I'm working on, remote or local. I can create alias for groups of websites, you know, to do stuff in bulk. Just don't overdo it, trust me. So, do I have alias? I don't know. This client didn't really call and write and anything. So I can check with WP CLI. So alias is CLI thing, not WordPress thing. And I can say alias and list. There is list with every command. We have all, and that is created automatically when you create one alias. And we have client, and you see there all the info that I was typing. So I have this client, of course, and I can do, so how you use alias, you just type WP and alias name, and then like without alias. So client, and now while I'm there, I can just check the version of WordPress. Oh, 5.2. So very insecure, current version is 5.8. So we can just quickly update it. And let's pretend I did all the export and backup, because we don't have time for all of that. And now I can say core update. You don't even have to go to dashboard, but I suggest you do. Just, you know, check if it's still there. That seems appropriate. Okay, and now we can find that login URL. So, WP client, and I will use now a command that will execute arbitrary PHP code. I love it. I use it very often. So evil. And I happen to know what is WordPress function for login URL. It is WP login URL. And I'm just gonna add new line to print it nicely. Okay. There we go. There's the login URL. So this task could take a lot of time. I did it just in few seconds, just one line. And now I want to show you something about security. So I have local. Let me just go there. So this is fresh install of WordPress, like 20 minutes ago. And if we take a look at users here, there is admin, and this admin is administrator. And this is how it looks. So WP admin is actually a command that will lead you to login URL. And why I didn't use it with alias? Well, because it doesn't work with alias. So here, yeah, you know what is the password. So here you can see there is post and pages and appearance. And wow, theme editor from dashboard, and yeah, plugin editor and settings and user, everything is there. Everything. And when you install WordPress, by default, one post is published, it's hello world. Depending on the theme, this username is visible on public. So, WordPress websites get hacked very often. That's not a secret. And there was a time when WordPress was this huge security hole on server. It is not like that anymore, but we still have this weak link. It's user, you know, having all the permissions and all the access while keeping their passwords jolly and light. And however tempting the idea is, one cannot simply eliminate the user. So we have to learn to work with them or around them. And I will work around this user. So I will create another user that will be author. And let's see what we have here. User. Help. So you can add capability, add role, check password, create, delete, generate, remove capability and role. You can mark them spam, and with update, you can even change their password, you know, if you want to have some fun. So I'm going to create user, and there is a number of parameters here that are mandatory and some are not mandatory, and I don't know which one. Well, I know I learned for this talk, but I don't want to know. I don't want to think about this. And this is where prompt comes in. And prompt will prompt me with every parameter. I don't have to think about what it is or type it or whatever. I just have to type what is unique to this situation. So user login is username. So I'm going to say author, email, now row. So you see the difference between the brackets. The login and email are mandatory with those, you know, code brackets. And the square brackets are optional. And role is optional, but I'm going to here define it because default one is subscriber. I want author. And password should be strong, but I'm going to log in with this user in a minute, so bear with me. It will be author. And everything else, I don't care, whatever, let's go. Yeah. So now we have two users. One is admin, one is author, and I'm going to demote this administrator. So not to remove it, just demote. And I'm going to say remove role. Now we need, for this parameter, we need which user, from whom we are going to remove the role. It can be user ID or username or email. I happen to know it's one, so I'm going to just say this. And this is how it looks. When you have no role, WordPress doesn't know what to do with you. So even a subscriber has more access than this user. You know, they can access their own profile. This is nothing. And now I'm going to log out and log in with author. So this author doesn't know there are categories or tags or pages, never heard of themes and plugins, settings, so pretty much limited. We have two users, one has no access and the other has limited access. And from WP CLI, I can say WP Plugin install, activate, and I'm going to say simple history. Now, this little plugin will give you the list of things that happen in your WordPress, and you could see that in dashboard if we had anyone who had access to see it, but we don't. I still can say it here, simple history list. So you see, this author was smart. He created custom WP CLI command, and he added list. He kept it like consistent. And here you see everything. And there's no one in WordPress dashboard who can see that. So how about that for security? You know, moving everything, complete administration to SSH level. I'm loving it, but if this was your client, they would want more access, and they should have more access. But the problem with default WordPress roles is this one is just too little, and the other one, the next one, is just too much. And the good thing is you can add capabilities, which are just little bits of access and permissions where you can give it. So I'm gonna say WP user, add capability, and now again we need parameter which user. I know it's 2, and which capability? Well, I think someone who can write articles should manage categories and tags. So manage categories. Yeah, missing T. Okay, nothing would break. So now this user can see categories and tags. Also, I'd like to give them option to switch themes. So not to install new ones, just to switch between the ones that are already there. Also, I'm going to do the same thing for plugins. So they can activate plugins. And what this does is, when something goes wrong, you know, usually the first thing people advise to you is just turn off all plugins or try default theme. Well, he can do that now, this user. They can switch between themes. They can turn on and off the plugins, but no introduction of some arbitrary code that the developer didn't see or approve. And another thing, themes and plugins usually hide some additional settings behind the edit theme options. Now this user can, I typed something wrong. Right. It's this one, okay. So now this user can access customizer, widgets, menus, background, but no edit. So no code will be edited from dashboard. And of course, there are many more things that users should have. And this is the way we can give them enough access to actually own the website, but not enough to break it. And you can see the whole list of these capabilities here. WordPress.org support article, roles, and capabilities. You can find all of them. I learned just these 4. So we are going to move now to development. There is, first thing, when you install new WordPress, you probably need some dummy content. So I used to add another post, another new post, yet another post. And it's boring, it takes time, and it's useless because you just add title to have it published. So with WP CLI, you can generate many things. So this is one of those commands like list and add, create. You can generate posts and taxonomies and users and comments and widgets, menus. And to put it even on a higher level, you can create a bash script, which will just have all of that, and you can run it when you install WordPress, so you don't have to, do any. You can just watch it and laugh out loud because you're not doing it manually, and that's for doing, boring stuff. Now we are going to Scaffold a plugin. So, with Scaffold, let's see what we can do. We can scaffold block and block, child, theme, plugin, plugin tests, post type, taxonomy, theme test, underscores. Underscores is standalone theme, and it's based on underscores starter theme, which is good, but this is not really up to date. So in 5.8 WordPress, we had part of full site editing in core. In 5.9, we will have full site editing. This theme is not supporting full site editing. So you might want to search for those themes if you want to build with blocks. But this is okay for classic theme. You can still learn stuff. But we are going to Scaffold plugin. And as I said, it will take only one command, so I'm going to use prompt again. Slug. It will be PHP Serbia. Why not? Directory name, if you want it to be different than PHP Serbia, then slug. I don't want. Title. So you see, this is not mandatory, but I just like to type. Author, PHP, user group. Yeah, don't skip tests. Continuous integration is by default Travis for WordPress. You can define it here if you want something different. Yeah, activate. Network, I don't have here a multi-site, so I don't have to. And force is if you already have a plugin with the same slug or directory name, it will override, so I don't have. I have only one PHP Serbia. So now let's go there and see what's in there. So you see we have bin. There are some useful scripts you can run. We have grunt file. Now, this is default. Grunt was default task runner for WordPress projects before Gutenberg. With Gutenberg, we are getting more Webpack. Not everything is updated. Some projects are still using grunt file. You can use whatever you want, but there are some, useful tasks. If you run grunt, you will get all the translations, actually all the strings ready for translation in files and some other stuff. So you can write your own tests right away, and I'm going to show you this README file. So I'm going to open Nano so we can close it. Yeah. And you see, it's not just empty TXT file, it's ready template. So you can just populate whatever it is unique to your plugin. And let's create a plugin now. Here it is, the main comment that is in this file, and this main comment is read by some parsers on WordPress.org if you are going to host it there. And here, my code starts here. So I'm going to say function, PHP Serbia, the title. Have you noticed the spaces I'm using? That's WordPress coding standards. So I'm going to return. Always escape your strings and prepare for translation. I'm going to say PHP Serbia, and my text domain is PHP Serbia. And I'm just going to append title here. That's it, that's our little function. We are going to hook it to the title filter. And this little function is going to append PHP Serbia to every title. So this is my callback, PHP Serbia, the title. Okay, I hope it's right. If it's not, it doesn't matter. Let's see. So here we have, here it is, PHP Serbia. That's plugin. If we go to front end, oh, something is not working properly. What? Typo, oh, yeah. Right. That happens every time. You would think I would learn by, no. Escape, okay. So now we have PHP Serbia, right. So this plugin is not very useful, but the thing is, I made it in 2 minutes on live talk in terminal, and it would pass code review at WordPress.org, not because I'm so great developer, but because everything in there is by standards, it's following best practices, except for my function. But everything there is ready for WordPress.org, so do not reinvent the wheel, help yourself. It's here in your terminal. And now we are going to do some magic. So I'm gonna get out of here. Right, it needs CD. Okay. This folder is empty. There's nothing there. And I'm just gonna type install. It's magic and root and my root password. Title will be this is really magical site. It's not. Magic.lock. User admin. And password, you know which one. Oh, it doesn't, it's not visible. It says release the Kraken. So do you want, I want to release the Kraken, yeah. Hi, Kraken. And here it is, our Kraken. It's our website that was just created with a bash script. So, let's take a look. What happened here? Okay. So now if we take a look, you see there is a WordPress. So let me show you what's in that script. Bin and WP install. It's very simple script, really. It has only 4 commands, 4 WP CLI commands. So first we download, and then there is config file that you have to create, and there are, credentials for database. I hate to remember that and type that. So I use a bit of scripting in Bash and just collect the data. Then you install, and again, you have those parameters. I don't want to remember that. And then there is a time for Kraken. And if you want to, so this is the script I'm actually using for my work. I love to, surprise myself. It's nice. And if I want to release the Kraken, I get a little cow, and she says hi. If I don't want to, I have a wonderful day. So I hope that today you have, oh, this went very fast. So I hope that today you saw how can you make your administration faster, and how can you make your website more secure, and you can extend everything. So in this script, you can add, like if you have a set of plugins that you're using all the time, or you're using specific theme or settings, you know, languages and whatever, you can just put it in script and just let it run and, you know, laugh. So it's fast, it's really good because it will give you the code that is following coding standards, best practices, and it's fun. I mean, if doing things in terminal isn't fun, I don't know what is. So this is my last slide. I am Milana Cap, a freelance developer from TopTal. I'm also one of representatives for WordPress documentation team. So if you have any questions, if you want to help, we always need help. Find me on these places. The Slack is for official WordPress. I'm on some other Slacks as Milana, but usually this is the username. And I had very much fun. Thank you very much.
And now for the questions, right?
Yeah.
Do we have any questions? Oh, yeah, in the back.
Are you Drupal developer?
Thank you for the talk. Do you have any resources where we can learn all of these things and find good scripts?
Yeah, you can go to here, make.wordpress.org CLI handbook. So let me just, here you have how to install, how to quick start, you have the settings, everything. Complete documentation is here. You can find, here is even shortcut for config, because alias and all that stuff is config for WP CLI. It's not for actually WordPress. And here you have all commands, but all those commands are in your terminal. So you don't have to go there, but it looks nice, you can. Also, you can go to official WordPress Slack. So let me see if I can find it. You go to make.wordpress.org / and chat. So you do need to have WordPress.org username and account. And with that, you go and create account on Slack. And there you can ask all the questions. The best way to learn is to contribute to documentation. So start documenting, find errors, typos, whatever, ask questions. People who are there are so helpful, and you know, whichever you ask, they know you will want to work with this, and they will help you. They will tell you. There is official repo where you can go, well, a few of them, and you can just, you know, there are a lot of resources for WP CLI. Does that answer? Okay. Stay with WordPress.
Okay, any more questions? No. Thank you, Milana, once again.
Thank you.